Hey, welcome back to the channel. I have almost every single RMS blush here to cheek swatch for you. If you're not already familiar with these blushes, they are an awesome formula, definitely one of my favorite blush formulas of all time. And if you're wondering if there's any good, cool, neutral, flattering shades, just which one out of these would be the best for you, or if you're looking to add to your collection, because the description of these on the website sometimes are not really helpful. Like I swear one of them is called nude, described as a nude surprise or something. I don't know. The descriptions are not exactly spot on, and neither are the online photos, I feel like. So these cheek swatches will hopefully be very helpful in picking either your first shade or your next shade. I do of course have a discount code with RMS as well that'll get you 20% off. Use the code LindseyM20. It will be linked below. But let's go ahead and start with our first shade here, which is actually one of the newest shades that I picked out, and this is called Maidens Blush. And I would describe this as a very muted, like almost coppery kind of rose. And I actually picked this out to see if it would work for a fair skin bronzer, because I do already have all the other like more obviously cool toned shades, and I was really curious if this would pull warm or rosy, and I'm happy to say that it pulls a really nice rosy shade. You could definitely use this as a bronzer if you do have very fair skin and you like something that's like very rosy tone like this. And yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by this shade. I think it's a really gorgeous muted flattering shade. I think would be a really good neutral shade if you just don't like blush that is too obvious. I feel like this is such a good neutral, beautiful mid-tone kind of color, so I'm really happy that I tried this out. Next we have Royale, which is another really beautiful shade. This is a pink purple shade, but compared to the other pinks we're gonna swatch, it's definitely a little bit more on the muted wearable side. It doesn't have as much as a strong shift as compared to some of the other pinks. So this one I'm going to build up. I find this to be a little bit more sheer as well. Definitely a cool tone pink, I would describe it as. It sort of reminds me of French Rosé, but muted down a little bit. So if you wanted something similar to that, but more wearable, I think this shade is another like good crowd pleaser, because it's not too bright or too obvious in that way, and it just looks really pretty and natural on the skin. So that's Royale. Also, before we continue, don't forget to let me know in the comments what your favorite shade here is that I cheek swatched. I would absolutely love to know which one you like the best on me. But moving on to another pink we have here, which is Bermuda Rose. I like to describe Bermuda Rose as sort of the slightly more purple, a little less reflect version of French Rosé, which was the first shade I ever tried, by the way. This is definitely a very purpley pink. Has that nice sheen through it, but not really a discernible shift. It pulls brighter than Royale, but not as bright pink as French Rosé, which you will see in a little bit. But another gorgeous shade, honestly one of my favorites for sure. And then we have the original to me, French Rosé, the first shade that I ever tried. You can tell it is my most used as well because of that. This is more of a brighter cool pink. The shade of this online, it looks so much more pale than it really is. I'm not sure what happened with that picture, but let me do a swatchy swatch. So French Rosé almost has one of the strongest like shifts or shimmer throughout this blush collection. It definitely is very cool toned, and it almost has this bluish type of hue to it, which I find really flattering on fair cool toned skin. It is bright, but on the cheeks it looks so pretty, and I always say this blush brightens my face in a way that no other blush has. I think these formulas in general, honestly, so many great cool tone blushes in this collection, and this is of course always going to be one of my favorites. And I hope you can tell, Bermuda Rose a little bit more purple, Royale's more muted, and then this is sort of like that true brighter pink shade, but still doesn't pull too bright. And then we have Miss Pomegranate Fizz. This is another beautiful pink shade. You can tell it's more of a mid-tone rose though. So Pomegranate Fizz almost has a little bit more of a corally hue almost. I wouldn't say that it's orange or warm though. I guess the name describes it well. It is like a pomegranate, has a little bit more red to it. It's a little bit more bright. You can of course sheer this out. I just think this is another beautiful flattering blush shade from the collection. This one, in terms of like the shine that it has, I don't feel like it's a very strong shine like the French Rosé sort of appears on the skin. So if you want something slightly more subdued, they do all have that glow to them, but I do feel like some of them just look a little more glowier on the skin than others, this being one of them that looks a little more subdued. Last but not least, we have Hanky Panky, which is this very unique deep purple that has quite an interesting shift to it. So when you swatch it, it kind of just looks like a deep sort of like burgundy shade. I would say it has like a purpley shift to it, but it almost has a very like quite warm base, which is a little bit confusing because I do actually still have this one on now. It gives the appearance of a warmer blush because it does have that warmer base to it, but because of that like purpley shift overlay that it has in it, it's a really interesting color. With all these blushes, this is one that you can really tell it has the purple shimmer in it, where all the other ones have shimmers that are like indiscernible, like they kind of just look the same shade as the blush for the most part, besides like French Rosé. Then this one also has that same like purpley shift going on to it, which is really interesting. I think if you have more of a medium to deeper skin tone and like something a little bit warmer, but also something that has like some purple in it, I think this is a really interesting one for sure. I feel like it pulls differently on everyone, but yeah, this is one of the most unique shades. I do applaud them for making these unique shades that I've really never seen before. So if those were all the swatches, again, I'd absolutely love to know what your favorite is. I would say it's so hard to pick, but I love these pinks. French Rosé was my original love, but I think Bermuda Rose is just so pretty because it gives me that purple blush vibe that I really love. But then like the Pomegranate Fizz and what is this one? Cure Royale is a really great neutral. Hard to pick. I really do love all of these shades that I picked out, probably because I just avoided the warm tones. I hope you found this video enjoyable and helpful in picking either your first shade or your next shade. Don't forget to check out the link below with my discount code. I will pop it in the description. I'm also going to put another one of my RMS videos on the screen here if you're curious what else is good from the brand. If you were surfing their site, I have tons of reviews on them, so I'll put probably a best and worst on the screen here. We'll see you over there. Bye.